All right, welcome back. This is going to be the second episode, hopefully, of Not Married to the Name. I'm Duce, and this is PBR.
Anyway, I have a cousin who's probably one of my best friends. Talk on a weekly basis. He's got high functioning autism, so he developed a little later in life when it comes to the sexual nature. And as of recently, he's really started trying to get frisky. This guy's done more in 1 year than I think I've done in the past 5 or 10.
More jerking
But
off, or
no, just amazing things. So last year, this kid climbs Mount Elbert, which is the highest mountain in the Rocky Mountains.
he's
That's
definitely
climbable in the
sexually
U.S.
frustrated then.
Yes, and he won $18,000 on slot machines last year in one go.
Oof.
He had a motorized bicycle this year that went over 40 miles an hour. Hit a pothole, the tire fell off, and he crashed and had to get facial reconstructive surgery. This was probably about 6 months ago.
So did they rebuild him like handsome Squidward? Is that why he's into the girls now?
Yeah. He did get rebuilt, but he wasn't rebuilt like handsome Squidward. So he was pretty self-conscious wearing sunglasses and different things. He got his bowling score up to an average of 230. All this has led up to him trying to get out more and make more friends in the city he lives.
I probably shouldn't ask. Never mind.
He lives in a busy city outside of Minneapolis. And basically, with him, he decided that just recently he was going to go to this show or club thing, kind of like a Comic-Con. Met a guy and had his first sexual encounter.
Met a guy?
Met a guy, yep. He wasn't sure. He was asexual for like the past 10 years, and he wasn't sure if he liked men or women.
Just took a little dick to turn him on.
He likes guys, and he said he likes being the bottom.
Oh, no.
So, I don't know. I don't know if he's gotten there yet. But anyway.
Well, good luck to him.
Yeah. Last night, this is going to get a little graphic. Or last week, he texted us and said, just blew for the first time. Just blew for the first time. Had a little help this morning. Gonna need to wash the sheets.
Jesus.
All the meanwhile, yeah, the night before, his buddy, my best friend, we were gonna play games, and he texted me and said, "I'm going to fucking bed." They live in the same house, so I was wondering why he was in a mood. But then,
he had to listen to butt cheeks clapping.
Yeah.
You know,
getting that rent money might not be worth it when you're
trying
to listen to that.
At one, if your buddy's banging some chick, it's whatever. But then you're like, oh, now I have to listen to two dudes. Not right really ideal for most people.
Right below. Yeah.
In the same room on the same end of the bunk bed.
So I'll cap this off quick. So this week, yesterday, he drove to Omaha, Nebraska, like 6 or 8 hours to meet up with this guy. Has he
tried women yet?
He has not. Whoop, turn on my lamp. He has not tried women.
So how do you know? Unless you know, you gotta dive into both pools if you're gonna just assume one thing.
I agree. Long story short, I'll show on camera for those of you who want to see it.
Are you gonna show us his butthole? What is this?
The guy who made him go visit him in Omaha made him buy those. And they got a hotel with champagne and wine. And all this happened last night. So next time you tune into this podcast, you're gonna get to hear what happened.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I don't know if that's allowed on YouTube. Hey, but we'll discuss it anyway.
They're just briefs. Yeah.
It's not the briefs, it's the details that we're going to go into.
But I'm going to kick it over to you because
You're going to kick it over to me? Okay, well, from that, let's go to my RP character, Dave Stangler. I wanted to, since we were going to talk about RP for the majority of this episode and not just gay sex, What was your first exposure to roleplay?
My first exposure to role play was watching. I was always a little hesitant to download things, and I actually watched you play role play, and I had no idea what it was. I watched you role play, I should say, on Red Dead Redemption. I
You
had no
watched me
idea.
learn how to roleplay. When I first started streaming it, I was brand new. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. But so that your first experience with roleplay at all was via watching me do it.
Yeah, and we were already friends. So for those of you
Mm-hmm.
listening, we've been playing video games for quite a while, probably a year.
No,
But
more than a year.
him
Much more than a year.
probably,
Maybe
and
at
him.
that time it was about a year.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it'd probably been about a year, and him and our buddy Magic Dan were
Magic
playing.
Dane, the first of his name, bartender.
What was your experience?
My first time with RP would be through Summit 1G. Um,
Did he help you get off?
actually,
Make you change the
oh
sheets?
yeah, he
I'm
made
just
me buy
kidding.
a jockstrap too.
Yeah.
No, actually, I take that back. My first experience in roleplay was much before I even knew what it was, and I had no clue what it was. It was in Arma 3. It was a mod server, the modded server where people were just doing RP, but we were just running heroin because it was funny, but I didn't really grasp the concept of how into it a lot of the people in the servers are and how invested in their characters they are and the roles they're playing. I didn't understand it at that time. I was just having fun running from the cops, not really, connecting the dots. Anyway, so that was my first uh, jaunt into the genre, but my main exposure to it would be through Summit 1G. He was streaming in No Pixel, I believe, and from watching him, I got to see a guy named Lord Kevin, and Lord Kevin is probably, I mean, he's definitely my favorite RPer, but they bastardized him at the end of, actually, we should talk about that. Anyway, I found him, and then I fell in love with RP because his character was just fucking hilarious, and the way that he could, you know, make a scene out of nothing, or not a scene like, oh, I'm being obnoxious, but like make something out of nothing, um, really captured my attention. So I
I,
watched the Chain Gang for fuck 3-4 years before I decided to actually try RPing.
two
So
things, I guess, to get on top of that would be the first thing would be, was that your main source of like stream that you watched?
I didn't watch too much Twitch up until I started watching Summit in like 2000 and I want to say 12, but it was like at the end of his like CS days, the beginning of his like when he just started to stream more stuff. He was playing like BRs and stuff at the time when I started following him.
Okay.
And that was pretty much all I watched. I pretty much watched him, and then I would go to YouTube for any other content.
My other thing I think is maybe you'd like to lay the foundation of what RP really is as a basis for people that don't have any idea what role playing actually is. And
RP would be a TV show that runs 24 hours a day with thousands of characters that are always in the same world that never ends. It's basically a never-ending TV show, and each person plays a character that you can play multiple characters, but we're just gonna use a single character to simplify it. But everybody plays a specific character, a specific role. They have a specific like attitude about them. They're either a criminal or they kind of float, or they're a cop or a medic. And when you log into the server, you have to um, play your character and not know anything your character is not supposed to know. If you heard something like in Discord or whatever, you're not supposed to be able to carry that information into the roleplay world. It's supposed to be kind of like a little bubble, and when you're in that bubble, you live within that bubble, and you don't use outside information to build your
yep.
character or character's knowledge base on anything. So
To preface what he's saying too, when he talks about thousands of characters in, really realistically, a lot of these servers, they're going to be on generally Grand Theft Auto 5 or Red Dead Redemption 2 as the two more popular games.
Mm-hmm.
There might be 200 to 300 people allowed in a server at a time, but if there's thousands of us that have characters, you might run into these people 2 3 months in that you hadn't seen in months.
Yeah.
Because everyone's doing their own storyline in different areas.
And they're from all over the world. You're not just playing with people
Yeah.
that are from America. You're playing with people from, like, we have a girl we play with who lives in Scotland. I'm pretty sure she lives in Scotland. She'd be mad at me if she's not Scottish. But
I think, yeah,
I'm pretty sure she's Scottish. But she lives in Scotland. We got a bunch of people over here in America. There's a few people in like other European countries. So I mean, it's literally people from all over the world coming together. So because people are in other parts of the world, there's different schedules. So some people will only get on at a certain time, or try to get on a certain time every day. It's hard to get into some servers unless you have priority, or you just know when the server's about to die and when it's about, when it comes back to life, because you get fluctuations of the amounts of people in some servers.
It's a super creatively stimulating experience. It gives you a lot of gratification if you can take part in it and do it well.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives people who aren't very creative an opportunity to just sit back and listen, because there's always someone in there that's pretty good. And
yeah, that's
they
the
can
thing.
carry it a long way for the other people that aren't necessarily the most social or funny.
Yeah, you'll run across there's multiple types of people that do RP, and when I'm gonna describe those who I dislike, they're gonna know who I'm talking about, because I RP with you guys too, but you suck. But there's the different stages of people. There's people that play more passively, like me. I don't do criminal activity, but I don't do like goody two shoes bullshit. I kind of float. I like just talking to everybody and building my character through interaction. And then there's some people who do criminal activity, and the majority of them are fine. But I think my main problem with people who do crim stuff is that they don't value other people's lives as much as they should. I don't think you should just straight up kill somebody in a server because they refuse to listen to you and stuff like that. I feel like that because for the person that dies, it's a bunch of laying around. It's fucking boring. And the person that shoots you, they get that little half-second nut, like, they just, they get that little gratification because they won. They W'd in that one. But I think because of the downtime of getting killed, it really makes it annoying when you have people that just, they don't have the social skills. And because it's RP, nothing happens to you if you kill somebody. Most of the time, especially in Red Dead, you don't even go to jail. Like, you wait 45 fucking minutes for a fucking medic to come pick you up, and that person just runs around, enjoying their shitty little arc that they're on, and nothing happens. I feel like if you're gonna go around just killing people blatantly, it should honestly be severe. If there was no RP behind you killing somebody, I feel like it should be a severe punishment as in RP, within RP, not outside of the server.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, what he's saying is if you die in the game, you have to have a medic come revive you, and you better hope there's one in the server at the time.
This is Red Dead specifically, because GTA is a lot easier to get rezzed.
Yes. Another thing I think wouldn't be a bad thing for us to talk about is the difference between GTA Online, Red Dead Online versus Red Dead RP and GTA RP.
You want me to go first?
Sure, just kind of lay the foundation of
I would say
what the difference is.
Realistically, Red Dead RP, I feel like the people that are doing it are a little bit more invested in the era, and in GTA RP, everybody wants to be the fucking cool guy. Because like in Red Dead, you got so many fucking shitters, that just, they don't care about, oh, my car. I mean, everybody has a horse. Whoop-de-doo. Some people have nice horses and they can run farther. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo, fuck. So there's not much of an incentive to like grind like that. So I feel like in Red Dead RP, you get a little bit more interesting interactions. Not better or worse, but just a little more interesting sometimes. Because everybody's got a voice. They got a little twang in their voice, you know? Unless they really suck at RP. No offense to those people, but you need to step your game up.
Yeah, and the main difference with Red Dead Online and Red Dead RP is that in Red Dead Online, you basically live your life and play game modes, go around, kill people, and do whatever you want. So if you're familiar with playing GTA Online or Red Dead Online,
Did I miss that part? Did I speak on the wrong part?
kind of, yeah. But
My
you
bad.
covered two. It was like a two-parter, so that's you're probably better at explaining this. So describe the difference between an RP versus an online.
Okay, so like let's just when people do like what I was saying, when they just it's called RDM, but when they just kill you randomly, um in online it doesn't affect you because you just respawn. It might be frustrating because they continue to kill you, but at least you just get up and you have a chance to fight, and there's no repercussions to you if you kill them other than they die and they probably get, a little raged out. But that's why when people do that in RP, when they start killing people, I'm just like, just go play online. If you just want to shoot people, just go play online. Because there's no role play in just shooting people 90% of the time. There's a conversation to be had. There's a scenario to be played out in RP, and then in online, it's literally just, you're just having fun. There's no guidelines to stick to when it comes to like being in character or how you're supposed to treat other people. It's online. It's the open world. People are ruthless.
Yep. Yeah, we've had some great experiences ourselves as
Definitely.
Couple of streamers, and even when we're not streaming, we played in a county. Should we tell them the county?
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't think there's any reason not to. We play in a county on Red Dead called Sin County.
It's one of the biggest RP communities. Not one of the best, but it's definitely one of the biggest, though. I think
it's about 200 to 300 a server.
It was like 300, I think, per server, and they have 2 servers now. But they also, I think they have upwards of like over 50,000 in the community. So, I mean, it's a massive community. It's changed a lot, though. When we first joined, it was still in its, not infancy, but I think, we were like in the first 1,000, 2,000 people to join the server. So the community itself was very small compared to what it is now. It's, like 10 times larger almost. But you can tell how it's changed. Before, I would say I ran into, some criminals, but everybody wanted to role play. And now you're running into the criminals who are just grinders. And they're just wanting to rob the bank. They're not building to anything. They're literally just at home fucking, yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm going to rob the banks today. Yeah. Like, okay. What is that? What? Okay. You're just going to frustrate yourselves and the cops because they're going to, that's the problem I have with robbing banks and stuff is it's so repetitive. It's just like, grab a hostage, blah, blah, blah. I think me and Magic Dan did it the best, though. I mean, I don't know if you've been a hostage with me or not before.
Oh, but, yeah. We were in a hostage that time that the safe glitched out on the dudes.
Oh, that was us. Yeah.
Our friends were outside watching, and we just kept chirping the dudes.
Yeah.
And they were so pissed.
Yeah. That, like, I remember in particular, a scenario where it was me and Dan were hostages, and the police are like, what do you guys want? And Dan just says, a campfire. Because he had been looking for a campfire. He actually wound up getting one from the cops in that scenario, too. But it's just like stuff, most people, when they get taken hostage, they don't talk. I like pestering the people who've taken me hostage. Because, like you and me, we got taken hostage one time. They actually wound up killing you.
Yeah.
But they didn't kill me because you said something probably that was lightweight offensive to criminals. But
yeah,
but I've only been shot in the head a few times. I talk a lot of shit in those servers, but I've only been shot in the head one time by a guy, and outside of like friends, and that was because I told him my face was bulletproof, and he said, "You want to prove that?" And he shot me right in the fucking top of my head. but it was hilarious because I was totally asking for it. You know, that was not uncalled for. So like that, in my opinion, was a well played situation. But anyway, I don't know where I was going, or what that even stemmed from. But
Yeah, we could talk. Let's talk a little bit about how we build a character. So one of
yeah,
my characters, I decided, he's coming up from Wisconsin down into Texas, which is where Red Dead's basically. It's in
it's
Texas,
like Texas, Oklahoma, Arizona area.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah, and basically, you develop a backstory for your character loosely, and it builds as you're going through the game. So, like my guy, he's going down to try and find his lost son, and his son's been lost. And my guy's just this dumb, arrogant farmer who's like really gullible
He
and a
farms
goody two
hops.
shoes. Yeah, he farms hops, beer, and gets down there and starts realizing it's pretty easy to get taken advantage of by these people in this place. And RP is the perfect thing for that to happen. If you play a dumb gullible guy, for people just take advantage of you. But the shtick is basically I made it so my character can be flipped into the sun if I have a secondary character.
Okay, look, but there's a theory running that he won't acknowledge that his main person is actually a psychopath and is crazy and is his son at the same time, and he's both people but played as two totally separate. He's a schizophrenic. It's basically how I've always viewed
it.
A
clothes changer.
Yeah. He is a clothes changer. You can't lie to me. There's no way you leave the server and get back fast enough.
No. So basically what I do, right, is I try to get under some people's skin sometimes if we're not and we're usually just making friends having fun, but like
Bob fucking Daniels.
My son fucks people's wives. We found a big hoss in the server and just decided I fucked this dude's wife. And my son's been on the run ever since. My son fucked the dude's wife. So this guy takes me into the big pen and just beats the shit out of me. And we run this fuck Bob Daniels thing for like
it's still going on. It's still going on. Yeah. It's been about 3 years. I still, when I go into the server, I say, "Where's Bob fucking Daniels?"
Yeah. And that kind of shit is what makes it so funny. You get these long running stories. Some people remember or know who Bob Daniels is or know who we are.
Yeah, they kind of put pieces of the puzzle together, and you build relationships with a lot of these people that are. It's really funny because you don't know what anybody looks like, right? But when you say Bob Daniels, I can picture his dumb ass in my head right now. Like, his character is who he is, and it's my favorite part is he's not like he's good at roleplay. But he's a zero effort kind of guy. Like, he's just hanging out, I feel like he's just like laying on his couch playing this shit. But, you build relationships with all these different people, and you kind of learn, you kind of find your way through the server and who's really fun to interact with, who's a huge waste of time to interact with, my favorite thing I ever had happen there's not had happen. One of my favorite scenarios I got to witness was they did a talent show at the theater in Saint-Denis, and it was the funniest shit I'd ever seen because you don't know if that person up on the stage is literally trying to be retarded or if they're actually that stupid in real life. So just watching it all happen, it's just like, because there's this little mystery behind all of it, it's really fucking funny. Really funny.
I was there with you with that too. It was you, me, and someone else. It was three of us.
It was Magic Dan, I think. Because
it might have been a different one, but I remember everyone dressed up and like went on stage, and we were like
no, we were just sitting. I was just sitting in the background. Oh
yeah, we were like extras that were invited that weren't part of the show.
Yeah, I think you're talking about something else, but similar.
Okay.
But just stuff like that made the server fun, and then stuff like that kind of stopped happening because you get these waves of like criminal activity, and there's certain people that take it way too serious. Your character can be serious, but you have to remember you're not your character. That's one of the things a lot of people have trouble getting over. Like when I talk to somebody, like one time I was riding into town and I don't carry a gun out. And this guy pulls up to me with a gun next to me and I was like, oh, look how small this guy's dick is. And he was trying to rob me and I just kept talking shit about how small his penis was. And eventually he wound up leaving and didn't take my horse. So in that scenario, I know he was probably a little offended, but he didn't. He let the RP kind of play out, and he didn't let his emotions get the best of him. Where he's like, "Oh, this guy's gonna fucking die. He's talking shit." Because, like, think about it. You're supposed to be role playing. You're supposed to value your life. If you were to kill that guy, you're risking yourself going to prison for no fucking reason. In reality, but because it's RP, a lot of people don't think like that. They're like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. I'll never get caught. I'll just kill all the cops, and they'll reset and forget everything happened." It's like, that's a slacky way of viewing roleplay, in my opinion. But
every server has its own rules. The server we're in has rules, and then you basically, they're pretty strict, but then there's also rules within RP that aren't necessarily set, like unspoken rules. And I guess we have some tips that we could probably get into regarding how to be a good RP player. And they're not necessarily rules written down, but they're ways that you can take part in RP and still get a good experience out of it without breaking rules or doing things that.
And that varies a lot between Red Dead and Grand Theft Auto. The rules are very different between the two because of the time period that they take place in.
Yeah, and I actually don't have enough experience in GTA to really even speak on.
Oh, this guy's Travie P.
Yep.
Lady getter extraordinaire.
Hey, what's going on, people? It's Travie P, baby. What's up, girls?
Yeah, one of the main things you don't like to, you're not supposed to break the third wall or the fourth wall or whatever the term is. Is that what it is? The fourth wall, the third wall, fourth wall?
Yeah.
I think it's the fourth wall.
Fourth wall? I don't know.
Something like that.
The Deadpool thing.
Yeah. You're not supposed to talk to the camera. You're not supposed to basically break character for the sake of explaining something.
Yep. And if someone else is talking shit to you or doing something funny, you don't want to be like holding your button and laughing into the thing unless you mean to laugh.
Yeah. You don't want a hot mic too often.
Yeah.
It can lead to some awkward situations.
Some of the other things, like we do this thing where we sit on a bench, and we sit on the bench in one of the most dastardly shithole criminal parts of the town, but it's very, very busy. There's a lot of people that come through.
I hate Valentine. The mud there smells like shit.
Yeah. And instead of forcing yourself into situations we were talking about, it's like it's better just to kind of give people an opportunity to take part in a role play.
Yeah.
By maybe, we don't want to say catcalling, but say something that catches their attention that's not just forcing yourself in. Give them the opportunity to either decide to engage with you or just keep moving.
If we had an editor, I would totally insert a clip right now of me just talking shit to someone walking by the bench. But I've been doing it for a long time because I just used to get burned out, and I've been role playing with him for most of the time. So some of our characters we did some Canadian cousins from Saskatchewan, Saskatoon, or whatever it is. Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Yeah.
We could tell them our names.
You're
Affect your wife?
And oh fuck, I forgot my name now.
I
feel your wife. Yeah, with Dick.
Yeah. I fix your wife and I feel your wife.
And we would sit on the bench and just talk shit to people. And one time we talked shit to one of the guys who's been in the server for a long time. And I knew who he was. I didn't really care. But PBR kind of went a little hard talking about fucking his wife. Yeah, we're going to fuck your wife, dog. And he wound up shooting PBR in the head. And I just sat there and didn't even move. Didn't even react to it. I just sat there. Because I knew that if I did anything, I was going to die too. So it was best for me to just laugh at the situation and let his body flop next to me. But when you sit on the bench, it gives, I just call it bench RP. Now there's a guy that did this in No Pixel, but I did not steal this from him. His whole approach of it is very different than mine. But props to him for doing it in that server. But it's just like when you sit there, it's really funny. I don't think anybody could do this. You know, you kind of have to have some social skill to do it. But we would sit on the bench, and within 30, 40 minutes, we would have a crowd just hanging out around the bench, not just to interact with us, but to watch us and listen to us interact with all the random people. You know, it gets funny fast, especially when you get a good group that kind of flock in. And then there's shitters too, but you got to know how to deal with the shitters. You know, a lot of them in there just want to RDM, but if you just talk to them like they're humans, usually they won't fuck with you. And if you do it just right, you can get them to fuck with other people in front of you, and then it's actually kind of funny.
Try to think about how many times people that are criminals run by that are just new to the server and don't really know what they're doing. And they're just trying to like get interactions and kill people, and then they see us and they'll sit and hang out. And we'll hear these stories and be able to just, people will come into town and be like, have you seen this person or seen that person? And we'll be able to interject. And then you get someone who's naive and you can tell them, hey, you can put that fire out by pissing on it. Did you know that? And then they'll piss on the fire and burn alive in front of like a group of 30 people. And it's always like
the little things,
you know, funny.
Yeah.
And you're not harming them. They're learning a lesson, and there's a medic in town at the place we sit. So usually they get saved quickly, and I'll take them there if I have to. It's not something where I'm trying to get someone fucked up.
Honorable mention here, Mr. Jiggy. Let me just put it like this. We RP'd with so many good people, and so we came from Wreckfest, and because this is a burn, by the way, a bacon grease burn. If anybody noticed that.
Sure it is.
It is. Look at it.
Oh, okay.
It popped on my arm when I was cooking bacon, but I couldn't do anything about it. And we've RP'd with so many good people, like people that are far better than I am when it comes to taking it seriously. I've RP'd with people who RP'd a death scenario, and I almost didn't know how to react to it because I always want to talk shit. I just want to be goofy. But I bit my tongue and actually just RP'd it out and, you know, had a little bit of empathy for the person, even though I knew they weren't really grieving about anything. But for the sake of RP, I went along with it. And you learn how many different types of RP there are. I know that, like, so I hate No Pixel. No Pixel to me is the biggest RP server, but to me, they're washed as fuck right now. I think Coil and all the owners have really let the server down. By allowing politics to interject themselves into the way the server functions. But I mean, I can go very deep into that, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave it at that. But within that server, you have, and then I'm not talking shit about anybody RPing in there, but you have some people that take their cop role very fucking serious, and they take it way too serious, in my opinion, because RP at the end of the day is supposed to be entertainment. Not only to the viewers, because that's a content server, but to the people who are RPing. Like, there's certain things that are just, people suck in general, so you're going to get frustrating people, you know, all over the place. But there's good serious RP, and then there's overly serious RP where you have to be, I think it's people whose fucking dads touched them. I'm just going to say it. People who are, They lack control in their life, and they really need a place where they can like show they have some power. I think that's what's ruining that server in general. But I don't even know where I was going. I have so much in my head. No Pixel, to me, I was such a passionate No Pixel fan, and yeah, I mostly watched Changang, but I watched a lot of the other people too. Like, oh man, I forget her name now. Anyway, I branched out beyond the core group that I watched all the time. Not that I would like watch them, you know, always, but I would tune in and out of different people and just kind of enjoy the community as a whole. And then it started going a little south, and I kind of pulled out. And then I'm just gonna go all over the place because RP just does it to me. But so his name's Lord Kevin. His original character was Miska Chang. He played an Asian guy. And after playing that character for 6+ years, they decided that it's racially insensitive, and he had to change his character's name to Mr. K. Shut up. Sorry, my dog. He had to change his name to Mr. K, and he had to drop the slight Asian influence on his accent. And for me, it like killed his character. He does a great job with his new character, who's Italian, I think. But it really, from that point on in that server, I couldn't take them seriously anymore because you couldn't actually role play. Now you're stuck playing a role that in real life you could actually be, unless you're black or Asian or what. Then you can play anybody you want. But for the most part, you can't play a stereotypical race if you're not that race, and it's really fucking annoying. It's really fucking annoying. It ruined a lot of good characters. But
So what do you say to the argument that says, well, then make your own server? Or people that do that kind of shit.
nobody's gonna join it.
Right.
I mean, it's just like Google. It's like YouTube. Like, make your own YouTube. Like, okay, Rumble tried, but me being somebody who leans more to the Rumble thought process, I'm still on YouTube because YouTube has ease of access. It has more creators, more content that I enjoy. You know, they just might be under a tighter restrictions. They can't make the content that they necessarily would if it was a free platform like that. But, you know, still.
Yeah. So then the answer is, right, why don't you just decide, if you're a person who's offended by someone speaking in a slight Asian accent, don't play on that fucking server and go to your own server.
Don't watch
We're gonna
it.
keep this server the way it is.
Well, the problem
That's
with,
the way
yeah.
that shit needs to be, probably.
Yeah, except for you got like, oh, but my favorite streamer's still on that server, and you guys are ruining it by doing that. It's like, yeah, stop being a pussy. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. You need to go get your ass kicked in real life, and realize that you're not the main character, and your opinions are only your opinions. And at the end of the day, somebody doing an accent is not hurting anybody. I mean, there's white people that were born in China, born and raised in China, speak Chinese their entire lives. And when they come to any English speaking country, they're going to say the same fucking, they're going to have the same spoken accent. Unless they studied English their whole life to try not to sound like an Asian man, then they're not, you know, like it's, come on, fuck you. Suck a dick.
People do British accents all the time.
Yeah, top of the day, mate.
I mean, and
Cheerios.
There's stereotypes with that too, you know.
I don't give a fuck if any other race does a funny voice. Like,
yeah.
Why do I give a shit? And second of all, language is not related to race. It's related to geographical location. So,
yes.
I mean, come on now.
I think this is a time to talk about power gaming.
Oh, power gaming.
Explain what power gaming is.
Power gaming
is also a way servers get ruined.
Yeah, well, that's what the cops do a lot of the time is they power game because they have the ability to lock you up and you can't do shit about it. But power gaming would be using an in-game advantage to kind of muscle your opinion, I guess, or like using information you shouldn't have to impact things.
Reading external information that helps benefit you in game. I'd say another, I don't know if this is power gaming, but one thing that turned me away from Sin County was some of the people that were higher up in the server.
Go ahead and mention his name.
I don't remember it because
it was the train conductor. Yeah, Bob.
Yeah. Bob doesn't matter because he wasn't funny or memorable.
Yeah, listen, I enjoy their server, but Bob, you got a tiny ass dick, bro. Chill the fuck out. You are not that cool. You're probably a neckbeard. Let's be honest. You probably sitting at home. You're a neckbeard. Stop ruining RP because your little dick ego. You know, chill out. Bob the train conductor. I hope I get banned from that server now. Fuck you. I'm allowed to have an opinion and not like people. Yeah,
basically this guy who's higher up in the server and runs the train, which is the main form of quick transportation, shits on people, yells at them all the time, ridicules them for doing minor things, and will kill them or take advantage of his position within the game. And then he will come in, and is this called metagaming? Or he'll bring in his external authority into the game as well. And like, people that don't know what level he is in the game kind of get caught off guard by it.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to explain it. I don't remember who it was that got fucked up by that guy,
so
but there was a lot of people.
I think in RP specifically, and we'll just use Red Dead, but like if an admin is having a problem with you and it's not like something that they're gonna please get out of here now, and they're not gonna ban you. Sorry, my dog's crying.
Poor puppy.
Well, go lay down in your bed.
It's an hour before his lunchtime. He can wait. 2:30.
It's 30 minutes, but what was I saying? Sorry.
The power gaming, taking advantage of.
So I wasn't going to talk about taking advantage, but I was going to say how some admins, if they're going to yell at you, they shouldn't do it in front of other people who are role playing still. And I've seen people, and this is a public server, mind you. There's not a whitelist server, so the rules are a little bit more lax because you get just the bottom of the bottom coming into the server on a daily basis, deserving to get banned. But they'll come in and they'll just be like, RP break, and you're just like, what the fuck does that mean? RP break? How about you just grab them and pull them aside, or you're an admin, just like, warp them over to you or whatever the fuck it's called. But one of the biggest power gaming things that was so dumb. Okay, we played with a guy, I forget his streaming name, but he played Marshall Combs. And Marshall was the first person I met in RP that was not somebody from my immediate friend group. And he showed me the light. He made me feel like I made the right decision joining the server. He showed us a good time. He had great RP. Anyway, long story short, we didn't really hang out with him too much. It was kind of an on and off thing. He was always in the picture, but not always 100%. He wasn't like part of the group. He was part of another group that hung out with this group. Eventually, he kind of warped into it. But long story short, we all were living in Annisburg, which was a nothing town until we moved there. Nothing was happening ever. Not just NPCs walking around. And I think there was a native tribe up there that had a blacksmith, and that was it. But nobody really used the town. So we started using the town, and then we decided we needed a mayor. And he was campaigning for being the mayor and all this shit. And then the admin stepped in and they said, no, you can't do that. And we're like, we're trying to RP it. You really think that we want you to give him a special power over Annisburg? Like, step off your high horses, enjoy the RP, and just let us have fun. Like, cause that's what it's about. It's just about having fun and interacting with everybody around you. And, everybody's bouncing off one another with, jokes or direction that things are going to go. And, I don't agree with everybody's opinion on RP, but at the end of the day, you do what RP you want to do, as long as you're not, impacting everybody around you with your shit, is essentially it. So somebody should not have to take place in your RP if they don't want to.
Yep. Yeah, that's a shame. Yeah, a lot of people got burnt out on that server quick because it was at the Slades. There was a Native American tribe up north that, like, if you interacted with the natives that sold birds improperly, they would kill you on sight, and you just knew it. It was like a reputation. And then the Slades had this plantation, and Duce would tease this guy who worked as like a son of the head guy, and this guy was trying to feed Duce to the alligators and didn't know whether or not to do it. And
he didn't do it, by the way.
Yeah, he didn't.
Because I talked mad shit. I said, "What are we at? What did I call it?" He
desperately wanted to.
Oh yeah, he wanted to throw me in so bad. What was I calling it? It was some gay joke I was making at his expense. He's like, okay.
You'll find out real quickly in RP if someone can't keep up with your ribbing, they want to kill you.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. If they can't keep up with your shit talk, they just pull the guns out instantly, and it's lightweight, sad, but at the same time kind of rewarding because you're like, another one bites the dust.
And most people aren't going to get shit talk from us unless they are doing something criminal related or trying to push their boundaries. So
yeah,
when they get it, then they're just not expecting it to be so heavy, I don't think.
Yeah, one time we were standing in Valentine out in front of the hotel or whatever, and I don't remember what they said to you, but you're like, "Oh, you want to get spicy, huh? You want to get spicy?" And I was like, "Oh shit." Yeah. He just came out hot on this guy, and the guy did not know what to do. It was just perfectly timed. It was great. And I know that this RP conversation has literally been all over the place, and probably 0 points have been made. But at the same time, I don't really care. But
try it. If you haven't tried it, you got to try it.
I highly recommend trying it if you're going to actually try. If you're just going in there to play yourself, not invest yourself in the character at all, not that you have to change your voice, right? You don't have to change your voice, but change your attitude to be a little more forgiving when you're talking to people. Don't feel like you have to be, talking all the time. You don't have to talk all the time. It's almost funner to just be in the back and chime in every once in a while and let other people kind of, people who are maybe more experienced kind of guide you through it a little bit without actually like saying, this is how you do it. Just watch.
Yeah, we got a guy we could shout out that plays with our Scottish friend, and he just plays a horn when we ride horses places. He plays the trumpet. He doesn't really talk much. He's our music and person in the background.
Mm-hmm. His name is Doom, and hey, what's his character's name? Samuel Dinger.
Yeah.
Except for his name isn't Samuel Dinger.
What's up, buddy?
His last name was something else. Another group of friends, which kind of all in the same group, but they like adopted him, and they're like, "You're a Dinger now."
You play RP, it's gonna change you're gonna get habitual things into your vernacular in real life. And the problem is now I say howdy to like every single person instead of what's up or hi. and they're always like, they give me a look kind of when I say howdy, but to me it's just second nature.
Yeah, when you live in that world, I mean, you gotta think about it. I was streaming that game for 8 to 12 hours a day, every single day, no days off, just living in that atmosphere. And it's funny because you meet some lightweight famous people, and I wish I didn't know their voices sometimes, because it didn't make me nervous because I was having to deal with them. It made me nervous because I knew how many people were watching them. And it always kind of affected my RP. But I met the two people of note that in RPs, I came across Zombie Barricade, I think his name is ZB. He was on No Pixel for a while, and he got banned for some server shit. But and then Randy, I forget his rated. Yeah, his name's Rated. And he was fun to deal with, but he wasn't streaming or anything. He was just in the server to have fun, and his interaction was good. The zombie guy, his ego's kind of through the roof, and he plays a crim, so he's got to act hard as fuck, which to me is not the way you do it, but that's my character, not his. But I'd say, yeah, try RP if you haven't. Just don't try and be the main character when you're not ready for it.
True that. Yeah, I don't know what else. You can choose to live a basic life, I'd say too. You can just basically you do enough to make money and feed yourself, because you have to pay to feed yourself in those games. So eating is important in RP for most servers. Do enough that you can transport yourself around quickly, eat and drink, and stuff that you're not going to have to be. Don't be so grindy if you don't have to be starting out.
Yeah, when we started, we pretty much met everybody through grinding, and we were grinding the rock quarry. We were just pickaxing, like literally all day long, just to make money. And when you're doing that, there's other people doing it all day long too, and you eventually meet people, and then you come across people like the Dinger brothers. And we were panning for gold, and they just showed up in a boat, and it was history after that. We pretty much, they became part of the crew, and then they became a relatively, decent staple in our part of the community. And then you got people like D'Angelo, who are the biggest grinder you've ever met. Like, nobody grinds harder than D'Angelo Salad Bar.
Yeah, this guy. So there's like, what are they called? Exotic animals that spawn at certain times.
Yep. So hunting.
This guy fucking games it, so he's ready he'll like go sit somewhere and campfire out for the night. So that way, when the server resets to clear out clutter, he'll be there when the server restarts, so he can get the exotic animal before anyone else can right away.
Yep, he was a
and
fiend.
Then go right back to the grind.
Yeah, he grinded like no other, but I think that was just what he enjoyed doing, was just grinding. He was like a grinder on the criminal side for the most part. You know, he was
He
legitimate.
was always in character though.
Yeah, he was legitimate, but so I met him randomly. I was just riding my horse, or maybe I was walking somewhere, and we just got into a conversation, and I talked to him, and we exchanged, information. And then through him, I met Samuel Dinger. That was my first interaction with Sam. And it's, you never think you're going to see these people again. And then all of a sudden, like a month later, they're like deeply ingrained in your character's background story. So there's always just so much happening. There's so much happening. Honestly, I think we should do this conversation again, but with bullet points and time limits for me rambling on, because I can literally RP has been the biggest thing in my life for the last 8 years, maybe. It's been my main source of entertainment, watching other people RP. It's been probably some of the best times I've had in recent years have been on RP, just like some of the funniest shit you've ever seen. Because you got the clumsiness of the game mechanics, plus people know how to abuse them. Like this guy, he was gonna kill himself. He's gonna kill his character off, and he's standing up on the bridge having a monologue, and he pauses his game for a millisecond, and the next thing you know, a train just demolishes him and throws him off of a 200-foot drop. And it's just like, well, he was talking about killing himself, but just like the fact that he was up there having a monologue about questioning his life, and then a train ends it for him, is just
that was the first time my character ever died, too.
Just
Travis
pure genius.
died, but Gregory never died. And
just genius.
The part about that too was like, I was streaming at the time, and streaming gets depressing if you watch the numbers, which is what we mentioned in the last show we did here.
If you're gonna stream, don't look at your numbers, just stream.
Yeah, don't look at the viewership numbers. But anyway, the whole thing was, I was like interacting with chat a little bit, and I was gonna jump off the bridge and decide, hey, if my character lives jumping off this bridge into the water, I'm gonna turn him into a stuntman, and then see if I can start running like a stuntman show and keep the stream alive. If my character dies, that's a sign that I need to just quit streaming and quit playing RP. Mostly just quit streaming. And yeah, that train fucking blew me off the bridge. the guy running the train was not that Bob guy, I'm pretty sure.
No, it wasn't. It was somebody else.
And he fucking capped it, and it actually made it into a montage on YouTube. But boy, talk about an all-time streamer moment. We were looking the other day. I think it has like 11 views on YouTube. One of my least watched YouTube videos of all time.
And it's fucking hilarious. That's my favorite part about RP, is the things that happen that are unscripted that just rock you comedically. You're just like, oh my, that was actually fucking hilarious. Because most of the people that RP that are good at it are pretty sharp. You got to be pretty quick-witted to RP, and social RP, not just like,
What's your take on if you decide to like shoot content and be a content creator, and you talk with a buddy and you're like, all right, let's meet up at the Rock in 1 hour, and you guys play your RP lives, and then you casually both converge at this Rock, and an hour into your RP session on content. Is that going against the grain, or what do you think?
I would say in GTA, you can call somebody and be like, hey, meet me at the Rock in an hour. In Red Dead Redemption, you really can't do that kind of shit. So
you'd have to send the pigeon letter.
Yeah, and on that server they keep refreshing everybody's numbers and deleting your address, because I guess they sell numbered addresses now. So my address used to be like 2300, and now it's like 30,000, and then they deleted it again, so I don't have one now. So they kind of fucked a lot because now they're selling lower numbers. And they kind of fucked a lot of us because not only did I want my number, I wanted all the contacts that I had associated with. And now I can't send messages to anybody because none of their shit's the same. But like we used to do that. You know, I feel like if for content's sake, if you're talking to somebody in Discord before, I think that's fine. I think sitting in a Discord the whole time you're RPing is a little chintzy, but usually the people that are doing that are not streaming, so that doesn't really bother me as much. They're just talking to each other outside of character, you know, in their heads essentially. So for that, I don't really care. But if they were streaming and in a Discord, I would have a huge problem with it. If they're in Discord making calls for like what's gonna happen, like, oh, there's a guy over here, a guy over here, a guy over here. If like they're in a fight, that I don't think should be okay, because everybody should be listening. You know, they should have to hear. The other people should have the opportunity to hear you guys making call outs.
Which leads into, like, if you're watching a streamer, don't just run up to them and interject.
Yeah, and I was not a big streamer by any means. I had maybe on average when I streamed GTA like 10 people. It was like a high average, and I would get people who I knew were just trying to see themselves on stream because it didn't make the scenario didn't make sense, and they would come up to me and the stuff that they would say, I'd be like, oh, you're clearly in chat. But me being the professional that I am, I wouldn't acknowledge it on stream at all. I wouldn't say like, oh, this fucking guy's just trying. I would just, if I hated somebody in RP, 99% of the time I would keep it to myself. I wouldn't talk shit about them because I know that my opinion is being put out there, you know, for the world to see and scrutinize. And I just did my best to avoid any negative attention, even though I wanted to be like, this guy's a fucking boop, you know.
And that doesn't happen that much.
No, not really at all.
I would really say, like, if you're interjecting, right, or if you're trying to like stream snipe someone in RP, just know that they're going on to try and have an organic experience. So like, if you see your buddies get online even, and you want to go run into them within the first 20 minutes, that's gonna like completely kind of throw off their whole night of trying to do their own story.
Yeah, my routine was I would get on the server. I didn't ever check to see who was online. I would just jump on the server and I would just send out a pigeon to everybody that I potentially thought was around or would want to hang out. And those who replied, and those who didn't. And I didn't play that game with much of an intention to do anything other than interact with people. I grinded for the first probably 6 months, you know. Then we found gold panning in the anus, and, you know, that was when we started gold panning. That's when the social part really kicked off, and we really met a lot of people. We had like Blackthorn, who's term. We had a bunch of people from Wreckfest come in, and some of them I wish they didn't, no offense, but because when you play with people that are from another community that have never role played before, they all want to be friends without the organic meeting, which makes it really difficult. But at the end, it all worked out at the end because they kind of grouped up. They had their own little community going. They had their own stories going. They actually embraced the role play a lot more than when everybody first started. So I give everybody props for that, for learning, you know, learning the way it's played. It's not just Red Dead Online, you know, there's more, a lot more to it. But
try to really think of a story. Like, if you're gonna, especially if your buddy's going in, like if there's 5 of you and your friends, you know, you're gonna get asked questions by people, and if they say like common things or where are you from or what do you do, if they say where you're from and you say Chicago, and they say what do you do, and you don't have anything planned, well then you're basically, I don't know, you don't have to have something planned, but it kind of sets yourself up for going over your story and just,
you put a lot of holes in your story if you're talking to the same people over and over again and they never really get the same answer from you or like a complete answer. I think that's why I talk to myself so much in character, Because like when I walked from Saint Denis to where'd I walk to with Magic Dan?
To
To the ranch,
Tumbleweed.
No, it
Oh,
wasn't to Tumbleweed.
yeah.
We walked to the ranch to go find. Oh my god, I forgot her name. I'll remember in a minute. But
I know what you're talking.
yeah,
The chick.
I was creating my story the whole time I was walking by talking about different landmarks and stuff, and I stuck to those the whole time. So when anybody asks where I was born, oh fuck, I was born in Rhodes under the in the White House under the baseboards. My parents kept me down there because I was an ugly creature. Because I was a bald, ugly creature. You know, I got my first blowjob on the beach out in the cove. You know, like just little tiny shit that I would like just make up as I was going. But I stuck with that for my story the whole time.
This guy's horse tell the temperature by the
Oh
length
yeah,
of
you
his
can tell
dick.
the temperature by the drop of his balls.
Or yeah, whatever. That was.
My horse was given to me by um, Bob Daniels after your son fucked his wife. He gave me and Anita get me some $250. So like he was like welcomed us to the server basically. It was like, you know, and he kicked off I'd say a great relationship in RP with him. I maybe talked to him outside of RP like a message in Discord before one time.
Yeah, our beef with Bob Daniels is the most real beef in that server.
Yeah.
And he's a great RP guy. Like you said, he's laid back, but
Mm-hmm.
he totally didn't care that
No.
we were doing it.
He doesn't shoot us. He's pulled a gun at my head multiple times, but he has never shot me.
I don't think he's killed me either.
No, he just beat the shit out of you for like 30 minutes straight.
I kind of gamed the system a little with him, so I don't know. He probably would have killed me if I didn't go change my clothes.
Gee, Travis.
It's Travis. Yeah.
Fuck your
Grey
wife. What was I talking about? Man.
Sticking to a story, hashing out the story, basically.
Yeah. I mean, this whole RP conversation from the beginning has, right? I would say that this little episode of us talking about RP is exactly what RP's like. It's all over the fucking place. You never really get, you know, where you're trying to go. You just kind of wander around. And at least for me, how I RP, I met some great people RPing and some people whose RP is just like, they're so invested in their characters. It's fucking hilarious. Like the gremlins, they're these little people of the mud. Yeah, gremlins. I'm the gremlin king. Gremlin king. And they would stab everybody. They would literally stab everybody. But because of their characters, it made that kind of RP funny because they didn't live by any laws. They were products of the mud from Valentine. They were just like so, their characters were so authentic that it worked out. Now the first time, bro, I don't know if they were watching me stream. It felt like I was being stream sniped, but it was like in the best way possible because I wound up in the mountains, and it might have been right after like the server wiped, so I woke up wherever I was, and I see this guy running around in the trees, just like following me, but not saying anything, and it wound up being Baby Gremlin, and he tried to steal my horse, and then he was asking me if I knew Magic Dan. You know Magic Dan? I did know Magic Dan, and I thought that he was joking with me. Turns out they never met Magic Dan before. They just knew his name, and a story that he told one time got to them, and they were trying to get the answers from him. Well, they never met Magic Dan, unfortunately. But just the way that the RP world works, if you are good at it, it's amazing how stories wind up connecting without knowing really any other part of the story until you've been plugged into it. It's amazing. It's amazing. It really is.
First time I met the gremlins, I didn't know what they were. And I was riding on horseback, very fresh into the server, going by the swamps where there's a bunch of crocodiles. And all of a sudden, these guys come out of this shady little wooden blown up house. They're not wearing shirts, and they're all like, gremlin, running at me with knives. Scared the shit out of me because I hadn't died in that game yet. I didn't know what happened if I died. But this guy Magic Dan Duce keeps talking about, I think he had, I mean, he probably played a month, and that dude made a ton of stories and impressions.
He had maybe the biggest impression on that server of anybody we played with for the amount of time he was on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because Dan's a genius when it comes to like comedic timing. His conversation skills are through the roof. Like his ability to make up stuff is, I'd say, superior to mine.
He was like a snake oil salesman.
He was so good at it.
A swindler.
He was a swindler and a shitter. He was a total fucking bus driver. But he just has the ability to like just really dive into his character, whether or not he's using aspects of his real life or not. His communication skills are amazing, and he made it easier for me to RP, because anytime I didn't have something to say, he did, which filled all the voids, and it was the golden era for me, but it didn't fade out when he left. If anything, he kind of set me up for success in a way.
Yep.
And I appreciate him for that. Although he did kill me a couple times and it really frustrated me, but I never said anything about it.
I think we could pretty much wrap this segment in saying, don't invest all your time into one server. Don't be afraid if you got to switch servers, because you never know what these servers are going to do to just make you mad. I guess if you put in 6 months into a server, I don't know. What's your take on that? I would say
the server admins don't care about the people in the server. They care about their friends in the server at the end of the day. And it really ruins a lot of shit. Same, like, I hate going back to this, but No Pixel, a lot of my favorite people have left the server and gone to a server called Prodigy. And I would try to join Prodigy, except for the fact that it costs money to apply, and I'm not a streamer that makes money. I'm just a guy. Actually, I was gonna bring this and show you this. These are the hats I've been embroidering.
Nice.
So that's what I've been doing lately.
Sick.
Yeah, I mean, it's just for a business, but that's what I do, and that doesn't make enough money for me to be like, well, I could RP, like, and pay to get into a server and have priority. But anyway, like he was saying, you should server hop. It is fun. We've been in. The problem is public servers are always public servers at the end of the day.
We never got kicked out of a server.
We never did, but there was plenty of people that should have.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead. Sorry.
In public servers, there's two types of people. There's the people who love that server, who are always playing in it, and then there's the people who are just jumping in and out of all the servers all day long that are total shitters for the most part. Like, we went into a server and we were playing old women. We were just old grannies. And this was our first time in the server and our last time in the server. But we met some great people while we were RPing, and then at the end of the night, this guy took us and killed both of us. And we just left and never came back, because it was uncalled for, and it had no role play behind it.
And we knew real quick it was going to happen too.
Yep. Yeah, you know immediately when somebody's bad at RPing.
By people what they're going to do a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And this dude stretched it out too. I think it was like 5 or 10 minutes of him driving us somewhere and then killing us.
Yeah.
And just toying with us.
Yep.
There's nothing you can do there. But Tonka was pretty funny when he came in. He was like this innocent little Finnish boy. He's a Finland guy, so he has this super funny English accent.
Who was it?
Tonka came in.
That was Tonka.
We were these
I
old
thought
guys.
I thought it was
I
thought that was
it was Habibi.
Habibi, yeah. It was Habibi. He's German.
German. Yeah.
It was Habibi. Okay.
God, that was funny.
Yeah. Because I was like, I think I know this guy. But things like that, I think that kind of interjection into RP's actually kind of funny, because that was the only time he ever did it, and it wasn't like
we didn't know
it was him. Yeah, he wasn't like trying to buddy up with us. We just picked him up as our grandson. Come on, grandson.
We'd go up to women and be like, "Hey, do you we try and hook them up.
How do you guys get dick?"
Yeah.
Yeah, RP has been a staple in my life, and I am sad to see it go the way of most entertainment these days, and care more about the identity politics of life than the actual entertainment value of what's there. Like, there's just unlimited potential in RP, but it's limited by people being offended by words. It's limited by people being offended by everything. And it really is destroying entertainment in general, where you can see it in video games right now, with all these games that are failing by big studios because they're making decisions that appease a group of people who are loud on Twitter but don't play video games. And the other thing is the gaming industry is now run by people who don't really game. These people who are doing this stuff now are not gamers by my standards. They play video games. They're Mario gamers. They're all Nintendo gamers. That, in my opinion, that's why the industry is going the way it's going. Is everybody who's a Nintendo gamer. Nobody is like, a fucking diehard. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm saying nobody, but I'm saying that with a grain of salt. Like, obviously, there are people in the gaming industry who are extremely talented, know the direction the gaming industry needs to go, and have the tools to do so. They just can't because of Big Brother. But most of the people, I feel like they're just like Nintendo gamers. Casual, come home from work, play fucking Super Mario Brothers, play Mario Kart. They're not people who are like me, who've invested, probably over 50,000 hours of my life to video games. Not creation, but playing and understanding what makes a game good. I like to think that my taste in video games for the genres that I enjoy is pretty spot on. And my arguments as to what makes a game good and or bad, though might not be popular opinion, the populace isn't always the right answer.
Correct. I think that's a good high note for us to. I think we end on a high note and we carry it into next week. Just so you guys know,
More rambling.
Rambling is good. We start out really strong, then we got rambling. Rambling's kind of good sometimes. We start off next week maybe talking a little bit more about the state of games and our opinions on
100%
where we think that industry's going, because we have a lot of opinions on that.
Yes, we do. I almost wouldn't mind having Grant chime in on that, to be honest. I might reach out to him and see if he wants to sit down and be part of this for a little bit, just to get somebody who's more plugged into the industry, when it comes to like constantly reading into stuff, as opposed to us who are kind of just watching everything. And for me, the obvious, if you can pick out these things just by watching it, then they're pretty damn obvious. But he's actually involving himself in the industry more.
And to preface it, Grant's he researches the video game industry, plays multiple games a week.
He's ass at gaming, though. I'm just kidding.
I won't interject there. And then he basically, that insult caught me off guard. That was funny.
You know what, Najoni talks shit about him. She's like, oh, the guy is not good.
Yeah. Oh, God, he sucks at Fortnite. He's so bad at Fortnite.
So bad.
Anyway, Grant, he knows a lot. And he brought up last week, he's like talking about how the PS5 is overly expensive for the new $700 version and how much bullshit that is. And literally, I go into our local game store a day later, and there's an old guy in there, an old guy who's unplugged from the internet, just bitching about how the new PS5 is overpriced and how things have changed and everything's different now. There's no good exclusives. And he verbatim said what Grant was saying on the podcast. And this is just some common guy who's not plugged in at all, probably doesn't even game that much because he doesn't have the time. So there's so many like-minded people out there. I think most of us, the majority, don't have a say, unfortunately, until it gets... The gaming industry is finally coming around, where I think we're starting as a group to really hammer these companies a little.
Not to get into this too much, but we are the ones buying the games. We are the reason these companies exist. They don't exist because they exist. They exist because we have believed in them, for so many years and bought their products for so many years. And just because BlackRock and these companies are investing in you doesn't mean that you're above it. You will crumble if you make products nobody wants. You know, you're not McDonald's. You're not a necessity. You know, food is a necessity. So people are going to buy McDonald's if they're hungry, if that's what's around, even if they're not, you know, if they don't really back the company or whatever their reasoning is, they wouldn't go there. But you're more likely to go to McDonald's and get food if you hate them, as opposed to, I hate Ubisoft and I'm not going to play any more Ubisoft games because,
Yep.
you know, it's not a necessity. I go play something else. I can go play with my dick for an hour if I want, you know?
Yeah. Well, guys, thanks for watching Not Married to the Name. Duce has got some chicks to put under that big bed of his right now. He's waiting to line them up.